Okay, so I wanted to talk in this video about the deeper you go, something about the deeper you go into Kundalini activation, what can potentially happen. So what can happen the deeper you go into Kundalini activation is that you start to really see where a lot of your coping mechanisms have been and where a lot of your resistance patterns have been. So my main resistance pattern has been to do with not wanting, or there's almost like a kind of automatic shutting down of tears, as that is what my body has practiced over and over and over again. And you know, this can be to do with like how you got brought up and things like that. Were your parents kind of like completely okay with your sadness and allowed that sadness to be expressed? And a lot of the time what happens is we get told, you know, not to cry. I mean, I suppose this can be very common with men, you know, because they get told that, you know, to be a man and all of that, to suck it up and not cry. But it can also happen with women too. So this is kind of what's happened with me, and there is this automatic kind of like not wanting to feel my sadness, and this is why I've kind of ended up with a lot of repressed grief and a lot of repressed sadness. And this is kind of in many ways how depression also can manifest, because if you're not really crying at the times when you really need to cry, then it is just going to turn to depression. And it's the same with anxiety. So the more you're repressing your fear, the more anxiety you're going to have, you know. So if you particularly are somebody who has a lot of anxiety, then what might get shown to you in Kundalini activation is all of your coping mechanisms around the emotion of fear. And if you have depression, you might get shown all of the resistance and the coping mechanisms around sadness. Obviously it can be different for different people, but this is how it's been for me. And so my kind of journey in this has been about really allowing myself to cry, and all kinds of things can come up. So things from your past, things that you just didn't cry about when you were younger, as a child. All of this can kind of come up and be seen through either through visions or just through insights, and it's as if it's being allowed to be seen for the first time, and really allowed to be seen and to be cried through. But what I will say is that sometimes this Kundalini activation process is so deep that sometimes we're not even aware that we have these coping mechanisms, or that we have this resistance. Because I wouldn't have really said when I started this process that I was someone who didn't cry, you know, because I'm quite a sensitive person. You know, I've grieved in the past about somebody who died that I was close to. I'm somebody who's done a lot of work on myself, have looked into things in my past, but yet still, this is the depth of Kundalini. It's really taking you in to some of those really, really core wounds, and really letting you see them in a new way, and is allowing you the opportunity to really feel into a lot of the places that perhaps have been overlooked, or you haven't really touched that wound.